Winston Churchill said the following: "Democracy is the worst form of government except for all others." In the late 1980s, this is going way back, I had a job in the Minnesota Senate, and I worked for a senator named Allan Spear, who was at the time chair of the Judiciary Committee, and he later went on to become president of the Senate. So I was a lowly legislative assistant and a legislative page in the Senate, and I was able to watch a very small portion of the United States democracy function. And I have a couple pictures way back. This is going to date me seriously. And I thought I'd bring them out because in the era we're in terms of transition and right now in the United States, I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to talk about and reflect on. I'm so proud to have found this thing. It's way back. I didn't even know I had it. One of my kids found it. What I noticed were some very striking things. And what stands out for me back in the time in the late 1980s was the fact that, and I go back to John McCain, he said we had what was called normal working order. That we had a two-party system, and on many things the parties worked across the aisle on things. And I remember sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't get along, though I do remember that we were talking at the time about tort reform, fiscal responsibility. And I remember taking legislative engrossments from one office to the next and getting different senators to sign on to things so that bills could be introduced into the Senate. And with all this in mind, my hope is that we can move into a transition where we come back to normal working order and we can hold dialogue. Instead of seeing each other, seeing people with an enemy image, and that we can actually start to heal. You know, we're facing this pandemic. I mean, it's no news to anybody, though we need to heal from that. And a pandemic doesn't care the political party you're from, or it doesn't care who you vote for. It only cares how you use your hygiene and how you prevent pandemics. So we need to get through that. And it's affected the world. And so we need to come together and be strong. In my country, the United States, I unfortunately see that we have what I see as we're nearing something called civil divide, which at some level means we need to heal, move forward, share power, share the voice, instead of seeing each other with this enemy image, I can't get along with you and you can't get along with me and my side and your side and this says and that says. Now that doesn't mean we don't need to punish behaviors that are not okay. As a family, we worked with Marshall Rosenberg, who was the creator of nonviolent communication. And Marshall said that nonviolent communication is not just about turning over and accepting whatever people dish out to you. Marshall once suggested that we sometimes need protective use of distance and protective use of force. So I think that as we go down today's path to healing, we need to come back to normal working order. We need to support new administrations, new ways of talking. Come back to this normal working and the ability to see each other, the humanists on the other side, and hear what they're going through. The metaphor I think when I hear Churchill's quote is that democracy is like a garden, like your yard. It just doesn't become beautiful and stay beautiful on its own. It requires pruning, yard work, getting rid of weeds, watering, nurturing, planting, transplanting, sometimes moving things. Sometimes things dry up and don't work and you have to put something else in. And so much as a garden needs pruning, democracy does too, to grow with the times and move forward with the pace of society in these days, growing with technology, growing with the changes we're in. So even though Winston Churchill said democracy is indeed the worst form of government except for all others, I personally can't think of a better form of government to support all forms of freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, health, well-being, racial healing, racial equality, all forms of equality. So with that, be consciously responsible and leader-like. And I hope you enjoyed the pictures, which seriously date me. Anyway, look forward to your questions, comments, discoveries, how you see we can heal from our own civil divide. Have a good day.